Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome to Fight CPS with your host, Bob Pace. This is the afternoon show where I talk about um, CPS, which I call the Child Protection System. It's a government entity that protects our children from neglect and abuse. It was started, oh, officially in the 60s, an act of Congress. Congress had asked social services, well, Congress directed social services to, to have a group of social workers that protect our children from neglect and abuse. Now, there's two types of neglect and abuse. Hello, David. So good to see you. Welcome. Before I get more in there, what can I do for you, David? Do you have any questions or anything? And let me introduce the room to David. David is a special man who's been fighting for his daughter for over a year to be returned to him. And I introduced him to Vincent W. Davis, the attorney that's worked for me and for David. And this attorney is trained in the areas of penitentiary law, family law, and juvenile law. And he's very knowledgeable what he does. And he will help you get your kids back. You had your first visit. Wow. How did that go, David? Hello, Megan. Hi, Megan. By the way, David is from Santa Maria. His case is in Orange County, in Santa Barbara County in California. Megan, I don't know, but I'll call you Megan. I don't know if you've been in here before, but what is your city and state, or maybe you're out of the country? What is your city and country? Well, thank you, David. I appreciate that. David is part of my family. Anyway, he got his child back. He had a really bad case where family members were coaching the child. I think his child was 9 at the time when it started. I think she's now 10. And he was accused of improper behavior. And Vincent had to have a hard case to do it. It was a really hard case. Okay, Megan, you're from St. Louis, Missouri. Yeah, I also wanted to say hello to Georgia if you're listening. Georgia called me just before the show, and she had a really hard time getting information and help and so forth. I'll talk about Georgia in a second. Um, Megan says, I found you through Vincent Davis's page. Great. I'm so glad you did. And we'll watch Listen for the first time. Well, it's a warm welcome, Megan. And I'm glad to have you. You're another person from St. Louis, Missouri. You're about the second person I think it has. For somebody just joining me, the way it works in this room is there are two ways that you can interact with this room. One is to text me a message here on the show. You just put your first name and then your city or state, or if you're outside the United States, your city and country. I do have about 30 countries that do talk in here. Some are regulars. David's heard them. I have a, a mother down in South Africa, a mother in Leeds, England. The new one this past week is a mother in Scotland. And I have people around the world, like in several countries in Europe, Wales. I have England and Scotland covered. And then I have the Middle East and India and Bangladesh and Indonesia and Australia, several states there. And then I have New Zealand. And of course, I have Alaska and Hawaii and all 48 states, mainland states in North America. And I also have Canada and Mexico and a country in South America. So, representative wise, I pretty much have a lot to cover. And I've talked to over 2,600 people. And David is one of those 50 to 75 family members that come in here all the time. I have Lisa, I have Christina, I have Faye, Faye from Kentucky, Aaron and Michael from Tennessee. I have several people from North Carolina and South Carolina, and then Pennsylvania, New York, Rocky from New York. People are starting to become our regulars, and I get to know their names and how they do there. But all we do in here is talk and support one another. We're very courteous. We don't want to do any politics in here. There, again, it's very respectful in here, and it's how we can help each other with this child protection system that has become so corrupt. And David said, "Beat, okay." Bob is a great asset, full of X. Thank you, David. I really appreciate that. And David says, "My daughter was happy to see me." Oh, we picked up right where we left off, not seen her in 13 months. Oh, David, that just brings, I have tears in my eyes, David. I am so happy for you. I know what it is to lose a daughter. I haven't seen my daughter since she was 12. Well, I have two daughters. One I haven't seen since she's 3, and I have another one I haven't seen since 12. But losing two daughters is hard. My oldest daughter, we're kind of not talking. I don't know what it is. At age 25, she disappeared in the sunset. 12, divorced me. And number 3, her mother took her and said, "You'll never see her again." And yeah, I've been married twice. I have 43 years of marriage, 10 with my first wife and 33 with my second one. But that is so good. I was worried about that. Oh, David, you really, I got to tell Vincent that one that you're seeing your daughter while you had a visit. You know, they say it's going to take about 45 days, maybe it'll be sooner, that you be fully with them. But that is so good because what it is, when you have family members that make up stories for their own alternative motives, it's hard to fight. I know that's what happened with me and my children. I have 6 children that I've raised and helped raise. All 6 I've heard are well. I only see my 2 boys. I don't see my other boy, my oldest boy, or my 3 girls. One's really young. See, I have 3 in the 20s, 2 in the 30s, and 1 in the 40s. And Vincent and I are really good friends, and he and I are really fighting CPS as best as we can. And so, um, anyway, you guys are new to the room or just come in and been here like Gloria's been in before. And I already forgot where she's from. Geez, she called me and it's okay. Let me tell you a little bit about Gloria. Her case is a hard one. The CPS entity, the social worker, and the supervisor, and then the director doesn't want to talk to her or help her. There's forms she's got. She has been to the courthouse to get, well, not been to the courthouse, but she had a court appointed attorney. She fired him, and then she found an attorney, which I thought was pretty good. She only asked for a 3,000 retainer, and her attorney isn't doing his job. Her attorney is falling flat on his face. Her case is going sour by the moment. Hopefully, George is in here. She's really upset a little bit. She's very emotional. That's why even people that are attorneys, now I'm not an attorney. There's a disclaimer at the bottom of my page. I want everybody to think I'm Vincent Davis. I'm not him. I don't look like him. And his picture is in the upper right hand corner. And he has a website called, let me see here. I always forget that website. It's stand.store/Vincent VWD. It's a specialized website for him that he has deals on there. He has deals, package deals, and advice and so forth. He has his own website, vincentwdavis.com, vincentwdavis.com. And that is his name, and then add the word .com. Now, his phone number to the office is 888-888-6582. I'm showing that up on the screen. And when you call the office, you're going to reach reception. Make sure you tell them that Bob Pace sent you. And then when you speak to Mr. Davis, make sure you tell him Bob Pace sent you. So some of you have found me on one of the pages of Facebook. There's 7 of them. There's another page in YouTube that's 8 pages that will bring you here to this room. Now I use StreamYard. I have it on my computer, but my computer, of all sad things, the most critical part for it, the power supply, brand new. In 6 months, the wire came apart and it's fried and can't go in. And because it's so new, I can't get a local one. And I tried to the store and they said that they can get one from their parts store, but the parts store said, no, they don't have it. You're on your own. You're going to have to, we will pay for it. I found it online through a third party for $200, which I was really surprised for an AC brick with the wiring, but that was okay. The Universal won't work on it. So I found a replacement, but I was sketchy. So I contacted the manufacturer, Asus, and Asus is offshored their support. So you got to speak to people in other countries. So I talked to Jamaica, and they said that after I told them my problem is, they said in 3 days. Well, that was yesterday. Today is Friday. I called on Monday, and it should have been here by Thursday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at the latest. Today is Friday, and still I don't have my part. And I called them yesterday because it was the third day. And I again talked to another girl in Jamaica, and she said that they'll send me an email in 2 days. It's really strange. I'm talking to the person manufacturing and getting no luck, and I'm talking to the other person where I bought the store. So hopefully it'll come soon and I can do phone calls live. I use my phone for both devices. I have my phone calls, but StreamYard won't work on phones and the phones won't work. They cut off each other. I can't look up things without cutting you off. And I am just so happy about David. I just have to go on and on. You don't know when you have someone in your room for a year or two and asking for my help and all I have is my fighting CPS. Since about I've been fighting them now for over 15 years, and I have talked to a lot of people, over 2,600 people in 30 countries and all 50 states. And I share with them what I learned and I help other people. And people in here help me. And it's great to have the success story that is coming along better than I thought ever. Better thought ever. So that is unbelievable, David. Um, anyway, I think I'm down to one person. I don't know if I chased everybody away. I had a new person in here, and apparently Megan is too busy to stay around. Or if Megan, you're the only person left from St. Louis, Missouri, how can I help you, Megan? And Georgia, where are you, Georgia? Um, boy, I want to help you too, Georgia. Um, anyway, I think maybe David's still here, but um, this is a good place to come because I'm here 3 times a day, 7 days a week. I've been doing this since October 23. And so it's 21 live streams a week, 21 shows a week. And one week I actually did an extra show well, I started my time again. I've been continuous through the second week of December, and then I had to take time off. And so the latter part of December and January, I was off, and I started the last week of February again. So I'm determined to keep at it. It is a lot of work to do this 3 times a day, and it gets very repetitious. And right now, I don't have anybody give me questions. And it makes it so easy when you guys ask me or share me comments or make questions. That's really important to me because I can talk so much more freer, more energetic. But after saying the same thing day after day, or 3 times a day, week after week, month after month, year after year, I'll put myself to sleep. I do talk about good topics. I talk about how to hire an attorney. I have 5 rules that you need to go by. And if you did, you'll keep your child. I wish I'd follow my own rules. But one of them is get an attorney, and I talk about that a lot. I also talk about how to keep records and documentation in your notebook and creating 2 logs, a journal, and a timeline. incident form. And then I also talk about the do's and don'ts when a social worker, when you talk to them, or the police, you don't let them in your house. You don't open the door. You don't answer the knock at the door. You don't let them take your child. You don't let them search your house. You don't let them talk to you. And even if you're outside, you don't let them talk to you because you're protected by the Constitution. And the Constitution has amendments. And also you're protected by your civil rights. And you got to know them. You got to know them because CPS, not all of them, and I wouldn't say the majority of them, but over 2,600 of them have been bad. And mine was bad. I know firsthand experience. And three of my children were uh, um, trafficked, stolen from me. They weren't in danger. They were not in danger. They're not in immediate danger, not immediate harm or anything, but they took them. And you're probably wondering what I was charged with, whatever it is. Well, they couldn't find anything for a couple years. And then they finally came out and marched in. And sadly, my parents were dying, and I had taken their belongings, and I had lost my job in 2010. And my parents died in 2014 was the last one, or 15. My mom, I think, died just before my case did. My dad was 2014 or 13. Anyway, they had their belongings, and they were married for 55 years. So my dad, mom had all their belongings. And so they asked me, can you take them and give them to family and friends or relatives? I said, sure. But I loaded it up. It only took a U-Haul truck. It wasn't everything that they wanted. It wasn't their furniture and stuff. It's all the mementos. And I have them in a storage room still. But at that time, I could afford storage. I wish I'd known anything, but that's what got me in trouble. I have a beautiful house, a huge house. I lost my favorite home. I had to use that money to sell the house to win my children back. But my house is huge, and my parents' house was huge. So I had double the belongings. And so what I did is I just had boxes, and I had um, some memento and stuff. But anyway, and I had a couple pieces of furniture, and I had stacked them very nicely and organized in the living room. And that was my sorting area. The rest of my house was free from clutter, and the children were safe. They each had their own bedroom and bathroom. I mean, I had that time three of them still left when they stole my children. My one that was 25 moved out a year before 2014 when she graduated. She wanted to be on her own. She took a little bit longer going through school. She graduated in 2014, and I forgot what her high school years. I had to look it up. But she was like me, took a little bit longer. I have a son doing the same thing. So three of my children take a long time to go through school. Maybe the fourth one is too, because I don't know if she's finished her college. She did go to Arizona, but that was my daughter I haven't seen since 12. And I've heard bits and pieces. But anyway, if you guys could ask me some questions or uh, say some comments, we can talk about them instead of me talking about boring stuff about my life or about other people's lives or the things like ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act, and how that benefits the Native American Indians. And by all you means, I want to tell you that if you're around the 30 the 53rd powwow, one of the biggest around, is taking place at Long Beach State in Long Beach, California. And so I don't know if any of you are area listeners. And by the way, I'm broadcasting from a place called Surf City, USA, 3 blocks from the ocean, south of Los Angeles, in California, USA. So um, anyway, I'm just sharing you the news that the Native American Indians, and by the way, there's only about 50 to 100,000 full-blooded Indians left in the country. There's still a lot of Indian population, and myself, I'm talking about Indians, I'm 25% uh, Lakota Sioux, and my tribe was at the Rosebud Reservation. That's where my great great grandmother died. My two great grandmothers. She lived a long time, and my grandfather was her son, and then he had my father, and so um, my grandfather was senior, my father was junior. I'm the third, and my son is the fourth. But anyway, Um, I'm glad that you're all here. I'm glad we have people in this room. I just like comments and questions because it makes the show more interesting and go better. But not to fret. If you're new and you want to fill it out or you're afraid to say anything, I know because CPS listens. I know they do. They've been trying to. Um, whoops. Oh boy. I'm sorry. The phone. I pressed a button. I got to be careful. I'd be glad to get that computer back. I think you all will too. We're about 20 minutes into the show. So we got a good 40 minutes left. I do a full hour. I may start a couple minutes after the hour and end a couple minutes after the hour, but I give you all your time. And I do have a phone number. And once my computer's up and running, we can go ahead and do the phone calling. You can text me on the number and you can be a guest on my show. I have an email too. And I can um, put that information up so you guys can see that. Let me put that up right now. Whoops, not that. Okay, I ruined my disclaimer here. Sorry. Okay, I got two messages running. One at the bottom of the ticket. It gives you the law offices of Vincent W. Davis and how to contact him. And the phone number 888-888-6582. And there's two websites for him. He's got Vincent W. Davis. Um, stand.store/attorney VWD. And you go to that website and you look up all kinds of package deals on there. His other website is vincentwdavis.com, and you can find a lot of things there. Also, there's my Facebook page, Fight CPS with Bob Pace. That's on Facebook, and you can go there. There's other Facebook pages there. In fact, the other pages that we have, Law Office of Vincent W. Davis is one. The reality series, CPS, Fight CPS with Bob Pace. That's my Facebook page. Are you a victim like me? That's the Facebook. CPS Attorney Rolodex. I think that's all these attorneys there. Davis Divorce Lawyers. He also handles a divorce. His law firm is multi-talented. It has a workman's comp. It has eviction. It has other areas of the law like immigration, criminal law. Vincent has his own page on Facebook, The Secret How to Fight CPS. And then, I forgot to tell you that the real victims of CPS is another show, and juvenile dependency. And then the U book is called CPS Defense Attorney. CPS Defense Attorney. And so we have a lot of rooms for you to go to. There's another, I don't think I have a web page, but it took me from the room. I don't know if you got all those web pages because when I read them, I thought I was still in the room, but I don't know if you heard anything. If somebody could say something, it'd be great. It'd be great. I want to make sure that you're live. Again, there's other people behind the scenes I don't see. I don't know if there's a way you go in the room, become invisible or not, because sometimes I've talked to people, I thought I only had one, two, or three, and then it ended up being 5 or 6 in there. So we're here to talk about CPS matters. This is the area that they're supposed to protect our children from neglect and abuse. But it seems like historically, things have really changed. Now, we started worrying about our children 400 years ago when we started to become a colony here. In the 1600s, we started having and actually I should say the late 1500s, because there's a lost colony called Crookatuck, or that is a lost one. That was started about 1590 or something. And anyway, around the 1600s, there was a case, and I'm not sure if it was at Jamestown, but it may have been, because Jamestown was after the 16th century, where there was a child being abused and it was being, investigated, but we didn't have a formal way of protecting our children. It wasn't until the societies started to get involved in the late 1800s, 1900s, and we started having societies that would look after their children. And so there are cases that have found at Jamestown and found later in 1843. I think there's a case of a woman that was abused. And then, of course, our Native American Indians in the later part of the 18th century were really abused. Oh my goodness. I don't know what was wrong with the people settling the West or people from Europe. You know, the United States, has gone through a lot of changes. Now, I think people on Earth have been here since 50,000 years ago. I could be wrong on that date. I just know in North America, there are Indian tribes that chase their DNA uh, lineage 10,000 years ago, long before Jesus Christ, long before the Egyptians. And they had come via the land bridge between Siberia and Alaska. See, there's Siberia and Asia. And Asia up there north is North Korea and China. Or is North Korea South? I need a map. That's what I do. Anyway, these people walked across the land bridge. It sunk. And there was it had a name for it. Anyway, the animals and people came across, settled in Alaska, then went further east and settled in the Canada area, then down in North America. There was once those giant elephants called mammoths with big long tusks that walked in North America. And they came over the land bridge too. So Indians been settling here for at least 10,000 years in the form of Homo sapiens. Problem is, there's been several lineages of men, and there is some link supposedly to apes and chimpanzees, but God created the first man and woman a long time ago, and that was Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, and that's where everybody comes from. And so I think certain types of Neanderthal man or Agromanga man are two kinds of people that are very, very, they walk standing up. And I think maybe the monkeys and chimpanzees came from one of them. But anyway, one of them became obsolete or died out. I think the Cro-Magnon man was one that died out, and Neanderthal man is for the Homo sapiens. Anyway, I gotta be careful. I like to talk about history, and I need to concentrate on CPS because of what you hear. And believe me, if you have a comment or question, my eyes are focused right on it. I will help you. I will help you with that. I will help you with that. So we need to refocus on there. We're talking about the development of protecting our children. So our first Americans were the Native American Indians. And in Canada, they're called the First Nation. Then they migrated down into Mexico. And Mexico actually came from the Spaniards that mixed with the Incas and the Mayans, and the Aztecs came from there. The Topaz and another group. There's lots of tribes in the Mexico area and Central America and South America. And They were all living there long before Christopher Columbus, and he was the one that discovered North America. He discovered the Caribbean island near the Bahamas. I forgot what the island is. And he called indigenous people, which are people that are native to the land, he called them Indians. Indians. And so that's how the North American native people got their name, and the word Indian was used. Canada, the Indians are gone by always the First Nation. So if you hear First Nation, it's some Indian tribe up in Canada. If you hear Native American, it's the Indians down in North America. And the Aztecs, the Mayans, and things like that are still called by their tribal names. There's a lot of them there throughout South America, Central America, Mexico. But the real people that discovered North America from Europe were the Vikings. You know, at almost close to 1000 AD, I think it's about 800 AD, between 700 and 800 AD, the Vikings came from first, they were at Iceland and then Greenland. And then from Greenland, they came over to Nova Scotia, down in Maine, Rhode Island, and was far west as the Mississippi River. And I forgot how north they went. But these Vikings were very warlike people, and they were raiders, but they also liked to farm later, and they discovered Christianity, and the Vikings died out. They died out about 1300 AD. And they're no longer they're still Viking roots. My grandfather, my great grandfather, is a Viking. So I inherited Viking blood, Lakota Sioux blood, and Scottish blood. I have 1/4 Scot, 1/4 um, Indian, 1/4 Viking, because my great great grandfather was from Bergen, Norway, and Bergen, Norway is the home of one of the homes of the Vikings. I've been to Bergen. It's very cold. I went surfing there. That's what drew me to Bergen, Norway. And I tried to look at my ancestors, looked at some Viking ships, and that was cool. That was cool. And I have been to my Lakota Sioux home in 1972. I was there in the summer of 72, a place called the Rosebud Reservation. And I tried to help out my people because it's the poorest place you ever seen. I mean, you go there today, it's still the same looking as it looked in 72. We had a lot of radical times in the 60s. One of them was the American Indian AIM movement, AIM, AIM, American Indian Movement. And we had the last Indian battle that I know of is Wounded Knee 2. And that was in 70, I want to say, right after I left. It started about 73, I think it was, or was it 74? And an Indian was the last Indian killed was by an FBI agent that got a little too antsy on the gun, I guess. But that was a horrible thing. They were there for 73 days or 78 days, and it was troublous times there. I mean, there was Washington, D.C. in 69, there was a march, an Indian AIM movement there. There's been a lot of marches, a lot of times. In fact, the Congress tried to buy off the Lakota Sioux because when gold was discovered by Custard, he discovered the Black Hill gold and let everybody come in. And that was Lakota Sioux land, not them. So Custer met his end, though, because the Lakota Sioux, the place called Little Bighorn, a battle of Little Bighorn, where Crazy Horse and Sitting Bull won. That was the only battle that the Indians actually won outright. It was a horrible battle. Everybody in the 7th Cavalry was massacred, including his brother on another. I mean, Custer, I think, had 2 brothers and they're left up, but he was a Civil War hero. I mean, he was young. He made a general in his 20s. I think he's still the youngest general. He failed West Point. He was last of his class. So he wasn't a brilliant person, but he was a very kind of giving. He sometimes didn't think. And he thought his band of 30 plus soldiers of the 7th Cavalry could fight off thousands of Indians. I mean, there were tens of thousands of Lakota Sioux and Cheyenne. The reason why I'm talking all about this is that children are part of their family and their culture, and they were taken and suppressed in the 1780s, especially after Crazy Horse was killed, Sitting Bull was killed. Unfortunately, these two individuals were killed too soon in their life. They were murdered. I shouldn't say killed, they were murdered. And that's one definition right now I'm learning. There's actually a definition between murdered and killing. Murdered is the act of intentionally doing something. Killing is to prevent, like we have wars, and a lot of times we have to kill in wars. And so there is a big difference and big talk and debate about that. But the people that get the brunt of it are our children. The children of the Indian families were killed and murdered, put on reservations, and then rounded up and put into private schools and religious schools, and their hair cut off. And they never came back to their families. Well, it wasn't until 1978, about 150 years later, that there was an act by Congress that protected the American Indian. And it basically says if the child is an Indian and he's registered with a federal recognized tribe, there's about 384 of them, which is a lot. No, 300, 584. Did I say 300? 584 tribes. All they have to do is be registered. If they're not registered, they can be. So CPS has to ask those questions and has to investigate the tribe. So you tell them what tribe you're in, they'll write a letter to the tribe chief and say, is this person? And what will happen is CPS will make arrangements to have that child placed with the tribe, and then they are placed with the Indian family who does a lot better job of family reunification and getting the children back to the family. And can you imagine the number of Indian children that have not been with their family for 150? They were trying to inseminate them. They thought they can't do anything about the old men, the women, and stuff. They'll die anyway. I mean, they thought once the Indians were put in reservations, the Indians, older Indians, would die out. And the new Indians were in school, and they hoped they would inseminate. Well, that was wrong. Today, that was a bad mistake. It was a bad mistake. But I'm glad we have the child protection system. It is important. I just wish all of them were good. I wish they had a check and balance thing, a check and balance. What I mean by a check and balance, right now, they do things illegally. They lie in court. My social worker committed perjury, and we had good grounds to sue her. Lots of grounds. We had two areas that she did wrong to us. She lied on the stand in court. And it's hard for me sometimes to talk about that. I miss my daughter. I really do. I really do. And I had wrong accusations at me. I was charged, by the way, and the charge said you're neglect because you stacked the boxes and the furniture too high that can endanger your children. Could. But when all translates, it just says neglected children. If you look it up, it's neglected children. They don't have all the added verbiage in there. So if anybody checks my background, they said, oh, he neglected his children. And so right away they think, oh, he's not good for a job. So they've hurt me. They've hurt me so bad. They've hurt me so bad when they lie and stuff. Now I do want to remind everybody that there's my email, bobp@vincentwdays.com. My phone number is 626-698-0990. You can text right now if you want to be on my show or send me an email. Hopefully I'll get my computer going. You'll be able to call in too. That's hard. I know most of you like to talk sometimes, then try to text. It's too hard emotionally and stuff. And so, hello, Lisa. Guess what? David is in the room. I got some good news. David just has first visit with his daughter. David Hilago is the gentleman, and you've talked to him because he's been on the show with you, and he hired Mr. Davis, and he got his daughter coming back, and it's 45 days from, I think, January, or was it February? I think it was February, 45 days from February. His daughter will be finally there. And he had his first visit with his daughter. Um, and um, it went great. It went great. Hey, Kayla. Yes, about the ant infestation. Yes, I remember you. You're not Georgia, are you? Because I had someone else. Um, you're from Hickory, North Carolina. Welcome back. And you have another question. Great, Kayla. I'm glad you're here. I was talking to Lisa Barkley, who's from Montana, who has a horrible case, and her son now has been eliminated from her life. And that's wrong. She never had a CPS case. They somehow made it a criminal case. The criminal matter was dropped, but her husband, who raped her, and she was divorced from him, um, somehow got CPS to drop Lisa from the CPS case, which is illegal. And so now she has no visitation. Her last visit was at Christmas with her son. She has a son now who's 5 years old. I think it was 4 at the time. And it's really sad. And she is trying to get a stay away order from the police to have her husband not park out in front of her house or bother her and stuff. It's not, it's her ex husband, by the way. And she's trying to get her documentation and so that she can make an appeal that she should have had some type of visitation. They should have joint custody, maybe. Of course, he's a liar and stuff, and she didn't have much money. She's really struggling, and but she's a good person. She's honest. So anyway, that's Lisa. Now we have Kamala from North Carolina who talked to me yesterday about the ants. It's some type of a wall, a partition wall that the landlord should replace, and code enforcement should be invited out there to check on it and see if it's up to code. If it's not up to code, the owner of that place needs to repair it or replace it, and that will cut out the infestation. But hopefully, your boyfriend and you can go to the store and find some type of an ant infestation killer. If you can't find one, then you need to hire one. And one way you can go to the city, and maybe they have a thing called Vector that can get rid of them as pests. You call them out and they'll do that. Or maybe you'll have to hire a company to do that. But you need to get rid of those ant infestations, not good for your baby girl. So, what is your question right now, Kayla? I'm back again. I had to look at something there, and right, you have an 11 month old, and it's so important. And you're home 24/7. You notice the dog barking half the week. Now, what does the dog got to do with the infantation or your 11-month daughter? There's no dog at my end, in my background. I'm inside. I am 3 blocks from the beach, and they have a sunny day out there. And if I could end the camera, I could put and show you the beach. But anyway, I don't want anybody who's in the freezing climate to see the beach. So, okay. So, what is your question, Kayla? So I can help you. I'm so glad you're taking the time to refresh me. You're really good about that. And Lisa, do you have any more questions? How are you coming along in a restraining order against your ex-husband? Has that been instituted? Um, have you got a hold of anything, documentation of the court papers of your son? The final thing, see what was happening. Have you been to the courthouse and spoke to the clerk? Have you asked the supervisor, the social worker, supervisor, or the director for the information? And again, if you guys, I want to tell you something. I was helping out Georgia, and she's getting nowhere. There's agencies that will help you, like code enforcement. They're usually pretty good, because if something wrong with your house, you can dump it back to the landlord and stuff. Now, besides code enforcement, there's the courthouse and the clerk that can give you copies of documents. You need to have your documents. They need to provide you. Georgia says they were denying her documents, and that's wrong because she wants to do something further with the case. And sometimes they try to think you're bad or you're stupid or something, and they take advantage of you. CPS, the dependency courts, the judge, of the dependency court, the lawyers, they're all in cahoots. They're all together. They got a really rich society where they go out to lunch and play golf together and talk and stuff. So if any of you listening out there, I got my eyes on you. You know, I have an old saying, what comes around goes around, the yin and the yang. Um, thank you. Yes, but we need to get Lisa's visitation going. Oh, you said there's a dog upstairs that's left home alone like 14. I read that wrong. I am so sorry. Or my thing is sticking. That's what it is. Beck says, "Solid, that dog causes the ant problem because no one's home to clean up after it." Oh, you think it's from the waste from the dog? Wow. Again, you can call animal control. Here's what it is: code enforcement for that partition with ant infestation, animal control for a barking dog excessively. And of course, you can call CPS for a baby that cries excessively. But if you call CPS, I would call 911 because they'll keep a good record. I would never call the police directly, and I would never call CPS directly. I'd call 911. Now, code enforcement has been good. My experience with code enforcement has been good. And infestations, we have a thing called Vector in Huntington or in Surf City, USA. And Vector is that comes out. They get mosquitoes, they get rats, they'll get infestation. You need some type of that to go in there, but that can be expensive. You have to pay for it. You never see the dog out either. Well, geez, someone's keeping a dog that length of time never get to outside to pee and stuff, even though they use a cat box. Or maybe there's such thing as dog boxes now. I think dogs, I've seen people train animals to poop in their toilet, and I don't know about pee in their toilet, but I've seen them poop in their toilet, cats and dogs. So I don't know. But anyway, dogs need to run. They need to be outside. They need, like all of us, we can't be in a house 24/7. We need the sunshine. We need to be mobile and active. As we get older, we tend to be less. We need to be more. We need to be more. So, what is your question? Okay. Now, what did the biological father send you? What kind of a text message? Why is he sending you a text message? I thought he was harassing you. And you have the stepdad, who is your previous boyfriend, that is walking your child, right in front of your house purposely to catch the school bus. And that's sad. She has a problem with her stepfather and her real. Um, wait a minute, stepfather. Lisa, no, is Kelly your stepdad or stepfather? I'm confused, Kelly. I mean, Lisa, is Kelly the name of the guy your stepdad or your stepfather? I mean, is he your stepfather of you, or is he stepdad of you had a relationship with him and after the biological father was gone, you had Kelly. I still don't get confused there. Wow, that's great. He's agreed in person to discuss. Now, here's the problem. You're going to have to record it, and you got to be at some place like McDonald's. A playground is a good place where you can record it. Starbucks, but usually Starbucks is not a good place to take children. So a playground, McDonald's is good, and the library is good. So you can do that. They denied my police report from the rape. Now, I'm confused, Lisa. Did you do it at the time the rape occurred, or are you trying to do it later? Didn't they give you a rape test kit? I mean, I don't know what kind of town or the police is they're in Montana, but are you telling me now they denied it, or have they denied it previously? I'm a little confused here. I'm a little confused. Good, Megan. You're getting to the point. How do you get a lawyer thrown out for lack of help? Oh, great. Well, step one, is this a court appointed lawyer? And if it is, you can tell them that you'll call the state capital, where the state capital is, and make a complaint against their license, and they can have their license removed, barred. And the complaint is easily is negligence. Negligence is a strong area, and you could also take them to small claims court and get them for negligence, not performing there, and get a monetary damage. I think small claims is to $25,000, so you could ask up to 25,000. That costs us only a filing fee, and you can threaten them that. You can threaten them that you'll take him to the state and have his license removed, or you'll sue him. You'll sue him. So that's how you can help him, Megan. That's how you get a lawyer thrown out. Another way, you would have to go to the courthouse and go to the court appointed or public defender's office and say, this lawyer is not performing and he's negligent in my case. I want him removed, and I want you to further court appoint me another attorney. Again, that's at the courthouse. If your attorney won't return your calls, is this a hired attorney? Is it a pro bono attorney, or is it a public? Is it appointed attorney? A public attorney? What's it called? Um, oh, a public attorney, I guess it is. One you don't pay money for. I'm trying to see what charges are being held against me, so I'm trying to. Um, hold on a second. It's to really help me. Yes, you need to get your case file discovery. You can get that. And if the social worker won't get it, you can talk to the supervisor. If he won't get it, you can talk to the manager. They won't get it, you can talk to the director. And if they won't get it, you can go to the civil rights coordinator at your state capital. And the last stop, by the way, is at DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, area code 202. They have two numbers. You go to them. It's very important that you go through the chain. So we can get this stuff. We can get this stuff. You can also go to the courthouse and speak to the clerk, and she can look on your case and see what documents are submitted to the court, and then you get copies of all those sheets. If you're low income, ask for um, uh, low income paperwork prices. They will not charge you anything; they'll give it to you for free. So, but you got to request that. You got to request it, and it's just I don't know if there's a timing on that or not. Now, I have up on the page how to contact me if you want to be on my show, or you want to call on the show and so forth. My phone is not working with both programs. So I can accept the phone call, but then the program I am pulled off of it. So my phone number is 626 698 0990. And my email is bobp@vincentwdays.com. bobp@vincentwdays.com. And hopefully you will get um, your information there, Megan. Again, Lisa, why did they deny your police report for rape? Why? When you say denied, did they not use it in the CPS case? I know you had a criminal case and you won that. And I think I've told Megan how you can work around by contacting at the low level to the high level. You're going to go from the social worker to Doge up the ladder, though. You have to go through the supervisor, the manager, and the director. And maybe there's no manager, maybe there's only director or manager, maybe it's the same thing. Then you go to the civil rights coordinator at the state capitol. And then after that, you will go to Doge. And not only Doge, don't forget you got a congressman and Congress. You got Congress people, senators, representatives that will help you. Two senators in every state, and each state will have representatives depending on their population. Well, I see the time. It's 5:56. We're getting close to I have to end the show. But again, I'll be on at 7 o'clock. Now remember, I'm on at 8, 1, and 7. And those are all the Pacific Coast daylight time. Good, Megan. Thank you for excuse me, Bartley, Lisa, thank you for helping out Megan. That's good. Good. I know it's terrible, Lisa. The closest McDonald's is 2.5 hours away from me. Oh, I forgot. That's right. You're Montana out in the sticks. Well, do you have a public library? Or do you have a park with a playground? A park with a playground is fine. When it's a public place, you can record things. And so that might work. Yes, I know if you talk, I agree. Now, Kayla says the dog is home at least from 6 a.m. to 9. I think that's way too long. Yes, I agree. A neighbor upset, I rent too. So both your renters. Well, does the landlord, I mean, you would call animal control first. Or first, inquire at the neighbor, why is your dog left for 10 hours at a time? Or can you keep the dog from not barking? Also, when you knock at the door, they may not answer it. They heard my show. But you can leave a note to say, hey, I'm a neighbor downstairs. Can I come up to talk to you about your dog barking? That way you have a paper trail. You have a paper trail. And you say you've never seen that dog and it's concerning. I told the landlords when I first moved in, I think they got a new dog because I didn't see it one time. Just once, an old dog, a few times. So I don't know what your rules are with your landlord, but they could help out too. But I would try to go to animal control first. You just say, hey, look, I hear a dog talking 9 hours. I mean, barking 9 hours. I don't know. If depends on where the dog, I guess, excretes his waste. Is he near that partition? Are you? See, I don't know how that partition works, and I don't know. But I can tell you one thing: if you don't have a dog out for 10 hours, that's a lot of poop and pee, and that will track roads and things like that. That's why you need to call animal control and code enforcement. I'd call definitely code enforcement about that wall. And I'd call vector control about the ant problem. I don't know what it's called in your place. And then code enforcement, the animal control for dog barking, and then the ant problem is a pest exterminator. First, do it at the public where you don't have to pay for them. Well, I got news for you. If it's back where the ants are, that's where it comes from, because poop and pee will track ants. And and I guess I shouldn't use the word poop. It's called a stool, and they defecate. So defecation and stool, that's left by them. You need to call them about the stool there. And excrement, the urination by the dog going to the bathroom. So anyway, it's now been an hour, and it's after 10 minutes after the hour, and I need to close it down. And I hope we can continue this tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, Kayla, and I hope you got a lot of information about that. I'm glad you have videos. That will really help. That will really help. So Kayla has a lot of issues that she's trying to take care of with her baby. And I know that CPS isn't helping her too much. Lisa, have you got a restraining order yet? Of course, you have a restraining order. Your ex-husband won't talk to you, so wow. Well, if he wants to talk to you, I'd be open. It's like the war now in Iran. If they want to negotiate, then come to the table. But the war in Iran and the war in Ukraine are bad. They're caused from within. Russia's the aggressor. Russia's the one that invented Ukraine, and that yeah. Okay, Lisa from Montana, I want to thank you very much for coming in all the time. Okay, I think I've covered everybody. Oh, we had David. I can't forget David from Santa Maria. Yeah, David, who has his first visit with his 14-year-old daughter. That's so good. That's so good. And we've already talked about Megan, and she's from St. Louis, Missouri. I got to remember that. So again, I want to thank you all for being in my room. There'll be a short video I want you to watch at the end. Please watch it. Please watch it. So this is Bob Pace telling you all, have a great day. And I'll see you at 6 o'clock, and never give up on your children. God bless you.
A vivid picture is encrypted in your mind as the critics get in line like they're witnessing a crime. But then you notice there's a shiver in your spine from the feelings of discontentment and bitterness combined. Heartbroken when you listen to the judges, another kid's innocence corrupted. And if you go against it, it's destructive. Consider this predicament the toughest, but we believe in a system fit for justice. Child Protective Services only pretends to save it. The one solution for this is worthy of instant praises. 30 years of experience with relentless cases. Allow me to introduce them. This is Vincent Davis defending you when they don't think a mother fits the role. Is it juvenile dependency or government control? Observe the pain in their eyes. It's time for us to realize we are the last ones
life.